Explore the endless bounds of space with all new LEGO building sets. From engineering wonders like LEGO Technic NASA Apollo Lunar Roving Vehicle to astronaut dog walkers, there is a perfect LEGO set for everyone on Earth. First launched in 1978, space sets have been igniting people's curiosity through the ultimate creative medium of LEGO bricks. Their newest collection is sure to propel the wonder for exploration and adventure across the galaxies. Be inspired by LEGO sets that are out of this world. Visit Amazon.com/LEGO Space to see the full collection.
Welcome to How to Survive with Danielle and Kristine, the show that teaches you how to survive the stuff that can kill you.
Like the apocalypse, or a severed Achilles, or getting stuck in North Korea.
And the stuff that just makes you wish you were dead.
Like stepping in dog shit, forgetting where you parked, or ending up in the wrong city.
I don't want any of this to happen to any of us.
You know how to prevent it?
Play the theme song?
Play the theme song.
Ground is shaking under our feet. Mountains on fire, flooding in the street. Can't breathe the air, can't fight the feeling. Gobbling down Xanax ain't the way to be dealing. Gotta do better than just getting high. We gotta stick together if we're gonna survive. Ooh, how to survive. Ooh, how to survive.
Welcome to How to Survive with Danielle and Kristine. I am Danielle.
I'm Kristine.
We have a special producer today.
We
because
do.
Garen is not here.
He's embroiled in a mystery.
That's a good way to put it. But Matt Belknap, who my car system pronounces Belknap, you have a message from Matt Belknap. Is here as our producer today. Matt is one of the stars of Never Not Funny. I don't know how else to say it. What else are you?
That's a very. I don't think your husband's ever said it that way.
No, he hasn't. What are you, the co-star?
Yeah,
Are you
co-host,
technically
producer?
Co-host. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, Matt's sitting in with us today.
Thank you, Matt.
Oh,
So,
thanks for,
Braving
it's great
the
to be here.
storm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's water falling from clouds. It's super weird here in Los Angeles.
It's called a superstorm when it happens
It
here.
is. It is. Jimmy's worried because the kitties, who are not our kitties, but we have decided to now feed.
They're your kitties. Have you fed them? They're yours.
They're outside, though. They don't come in.
Okay.
They're wet. And Jimmy's like, but they don't know what it means to be wet. I'm like,
Do they have
they'll
a
live.
place they can go to seek shelter?
Dude, what they do on their own, I have no idea. They come around. These are the kitties who were born and like the mom was with them in our yard with like 5 cats.
Yeah.
Well, 2 of them, the gray one and the black one, are now roaming the streets together.
Okay.
So they come and we put the food under the awning so that it won't get wet.
So they're going to just
And we
hang
did,
out.
but we invested in a 2-thing bowl, to put the water in.
That's where it starts.
Yeah, I know. But they're staying outside. They can't come in.
And then the next thing you know, they're tucked into your robe all
Not this
night
girl.
long.
Not this chick.
And they're named Mandy Patinkin.
Is that what your cat's name is? Mandy Patinkin?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
And I forget, the kids they know Princess Bride.
They do.
And they are big fans of, what the fuck is the show called?
The Good Fight?
No,
Homegoing?
Homecoming.
Oh, Homegoing's a book.
Is it called Homecoming?
Homeland. I knew we'd get there.
Holy shit. They love Homeland. They love their interactive at home red string on a board.
That's how they solve all their math problems.
Yep. How's that going?
They're failing.
Are they both failing math? It's good when you can do things together as siblings.
They get along so well. We were just discussing that.
We were trying to figure out if we could bring them both to the studio, but much like a dog and a cat, they cannot be kept in the same room together unsupervised.
No. We cage them.
That's good. Are they potty trained?
Sometimes.
Well, 2 steps forward.
Yeah. You do what you can. What else is going on?
I started reading. Okay, so I was reading this book called Bloodlands.
Okay.
And it's about Stalin and Hitler and all the people they killed. Not just Jews.
Oh, they killed lots of people.
Ukrainians and Poles, especially for Stalin's reign of terror. And I didn't know that much about it, so I wanted to learn about it. Anyway, I have it on my iPad on my library app. And Libby. And it's a very slow read.
Okay.
And I haven't had a lot of time and I get very tired. So it's been a slog. And, it shows you the progression at the bottom of how far you are into the book. And after renewing it once, I'm 25% into the book because it's 782 pages, which I'm hoping at least 100 of those is like footnotes.
Pictures.
There are a lot of pictures of maps.
Okay.
But I was hoping anyway, it got returned because it'll come back to me. But if you love something like the Red Terror, set it free. And then the murders will come back in multitude. I mean, that's the poster. Yeah. So anyway, that I won't get for a couple of weeks, and I also won't get The Talented Mr. Ripley for a couple of weeks. So I decided to read something lighthearted.
Yes.
So I'm reading "I'm Glad My Mother's Dead," the
memoir.
biography.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the memoir
from
of
that girl who was in the Disney show,
Jeanette McCurdy.
Yes.
I literally had no idea who she was or.
Sam and Cat, right? Is the show, I think.
That might be it. I'm not to that part yet. But it is a fast read. It is not lighthearted. Her mother's a fucking nightmare. But and
she was also, I think, abused by her boss, who then they kind of outed. Wasn't she from Nickelodeon?
Yeah, but I thought she was a Disney. Oh, it was Sam and whatever.
Maybe I could be getting the network wrong.
I know who you're talking. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the guy from Head of the Class, Dan Schneider.
Yes.
In any case, so that's what I'm reading. Fluffy,
light fare,
fluffy abuse. It's not that abusive yet. It's just bananas until I can get the
your dictator's back.
My dictator's back. Yeah.
I mean,
my
Danielle,
leaders. Yeah.
What a perfect segue for today's episode.
Oh, okay. What are we learning about? What are we surviving?
What we're going to talk about today is surviving North Korea.
That's good.
So I'm going to ask you some questions.
Oh boy.
Do you think you could turn in your own mother to save your own life?
Well, at this point, like now or 4 weeks ago, because it might be a different answer. No, I could not turn in my mother.
What about eat rats?
Oh, well, you know the answer to that.
You can't even look at one.
I can't even look at a rat.
Hey, guess where I found a rat the other day?
Chris, what? If you say anywhere near anywhere I've been, I'm leaving.
In the engine of my car.
What?
That's right.
Alive or dead?
Alive.
Okay, so how did you... something was going wrong. It was your engine was making squeaking noises?
The dog was going crazy in the garage, barking, and at my car, and basically pointing like
terrifying.
This. Like going, hey, over here. And Sven opened the hood, and there it was.
They like the heat or something?
They like to go in there and chew up all of your cords and wires.
Had he done any damage?
No, not that we could see.
So did Sven, what did he do?
I don't know. Did
you leave and just let him deal with it?
Yes.
Oh, for God's
So now we have to have rat traps in our garage.
In your car?
Yeah, now my car's full of rat traps. So do you want to ride?
I don't think your children need to be near rat traps.
No, I don't either.
See chaos. I just say let them have their fair share.
Let them eat the Prius.
No, I'm just saying I'd rather see your kids armed with knives battling off rats than having to step around rat traps.
This is a very likely scenario.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Could you face grueling torture?
Could I face it? I mean, you mean like temperatures less than 70 degrees? No.
That's what we're doing today. Okay. If you said yes to any of these, which you didn't, you might just be okay in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, a.k.a. the Hermit Kingdom, a.k.a. North Korea.
A.k.a. ironic name.
Right?
People's Democratic Republic. That's what it's called? The Democratic Republic
It's also called, the DPRK.
Right. Okay.
You'll see it referred to that way. Okay, so I'm going to give you a very brief history on North Korea because I don't know much about the history of North Korea. I'm not going to assume anything about our listeners because I think our listeners are smart. I know I don't know a lot.
I don't either.
So Korea had been under Japanese colonial rule from 1910 to 1945, and the U.S. and Russia was like, hey, we're super nice. We should help these Koreans. Just kidding. We were at war with Japan, and after World War II, both countries went in with their own interests. So, like, Russia went in and was like, okay, we're going to go in there and make it communist. And the U.S. was like, no, we're going to go in, we're going to make it democratic.
Okay.
So they both went in with their own aims.
Like in Germany.
Exactly. And so they said, okay, we're going to split it.
Oh, so it is exactly like the Berlin Wall, but so that's why we got North Korea and South Korea.
And then they kind of both left and said, "You guys figure it out." And North and South was like, "We can't because we both think this is better." South Korea was like, "We like this," and North Korea was like, "We like this," and so they couldn't agree.
Okay,
and it just. Guys, I'm not a historian, so everyone listening who knows more is like, "Oh my God!"
But is that the point at which it became two different countries?
Yes.
Okay.
South Korea is this wealthy, free society. Citizens enjoy civil liberties. They can wear skinny jeans. What else?
But do we really need more of that?
They don't know.
Would you say that
they don't know you shouldn't wear skinny jeans anymore?
Would you say that the Korean Peninsula is like the McDLT of countries? Like the hot side's hot and the cold side's cold?
You know what? I think that's a better historical summation than anyone has ever given.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's what I get from reading 800-page tomes about communism.
Do you mean 25% of an 800-page
You're
tome?
right. You're right.
Okay.
Oliver keeps teasing me. He's like, "So, Mom, where are you now?" And I'm like, 17%.
Do they do that thing where they tell you at this rate, this is how long it'll take you to read this book?
I think it does, but I don't look at that.
You're like 17 years?
And also, like on page 50,
yeah,
I started chapter 1. I'm not kidding. There was like a foreword and a preface.
Oh, no.
I'm like, motherfuck. And it's just a lot of statistics.
You know what? I think you have your PhD when you're done with this book.
And Jimmy and Oliver are like, just turn it in. Just forget it. I'm like, no, I'm finishing this book.
Yeah, I think you can do it. I have faith in you. One thing, though, about South Korea, I actually think they probably are pretty fashionable there. I shouldn't have made that skinny jeans
I'm
dig.
wearing skinny jeans right now.
And you look great.
No comment.
Okay, you can't get married if you're gay, okay?
In
South Korea.
Oh.
It's legal to be gay.
It's just not legal to be married and be gay.
But it doesn't sound very fun. Like, I did some research on LGBTQ rights in South Korea, and it sounds pretty homophobic over there.
Yeah.
It's like people don't want to live next to somebody who's gay. They don't want to work with they think people should be allowed to have jobs, but they're I don't want to work with somebody who's gay, but it's fine.
Well, you know what? That's what happens when you legalize skinny jeans. People turn gay. So you know what? That's their problem. They've created their own.
It does sound like it's their fault. North Korea might be worse by a lot. Though it's the most repressive regime in the world. It's the world's last closed totalitarian state, population about 25 million people. Just a little fun fact about the population. Doesn't have anything to do with anything.
No, that's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people
who are living in a world where they don't get outside information.
Correct. So their ruling family, the Kims, is what's known as a cult of personality. So
cult of personality.
That's where that whole song is about North Korea.
You're pulling my leg, right?
I am. I don't actually know what that song is about, but I remember hating that song.
It's a horrible song.
I just think it's a terrible song.
It's bad.
I don't remember the name of the band.
Was not what? No, that's not it. Matt's gonna find out for us. Matt knows. Wait, what is it?
Living Color.
Okay.
Living Color. Okay.
Do they have any other hits?
I don't know about hits. That album was successul. There was a song called Glamour Boys. That might have been a single.
I think I remember that.
I ain't no glamour boy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm fierce.
Oh, I remember that.
An odd follow-up to the other
Yes,
thing. It's
it
a very
was.
different tone.
But wait, how can you not be a glamour boy and be fierce? Maybe fierce. I guess fierce had a different connotation in the 80s.
It was pre Paris is Burning. It was
Right.
Do you think they laugh about it now, though?
Oh, they laugh and laugh
and laugh.
Oh, my goodness.
So Kim Il-sung took power in 1948, and his son came after Kim Jong-il.
Yeah.
He died in 1994. Now we have Kim Jong-un.
Right.
Fun guy. Would you like to know some political crimes?
Yeah.
Okay. Possessing a Bible. Listening to a South Korean pop song.
Yep.
Accidentally creasing a photo of Kim Jong-un.
Oh. Well, but what if it's like a mad fold-in and you want to, make his belly disappear.
Oh, well, you want to make it disappear? I don't know.
He might like that.
He might like that one.
Yeah. You make the sides match, and then he's like a skinny.
If it's from his own magazine, it might be okay.
Mad Leader.
Yeah.
Magazine.
Then I think it might be okay.
Yeah.
Attempting to make a cell phone call outside the country. So these are some of the worst crimes.
Yeah.
You might think, well, okay, look, I'm not going to do any of those things.
Right.
So this place doesn't sound that bad.
I could live with it.
They also have public executions.
Yeah.
Even kids are required to watch.
Required.
Yeah. And you're like, yeah, that sounds pretty bad. I'm a good person. I don't have to worry about that happening to me. But what about your husband, Danielle? Is he a good person?
Sure. It's not his fault. He's got all these ailments.
This place punishes the entire family. This was a policy laid down by Kim Il-sung. Punishments can last 3 generations. So it's not just you going to the gulag. It's you, Jimmy, Oliver, and Oliver's kids and their kids.
Jesus Christ.
Think about next time you're like, I love BTS.
But if you're in the every time someone says BTS, I think of the BKT. What was that killer? The bind.
Oh, the BK.
Bind, torture, kill.
Yeah.
BTK.
Yeah, I can't.
Every single time.
I can't connect that band to being a real thing.
I mean, they're very pop. There's like 20 of them in there, right? Okay, so, but how would you have more generations if you're all in the gulag? Is there gulag sex?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, if they sanction it and they allow it, then it's okay. But a lot of times I
can't believe they allow it.
I'm not going to get into what they do to the babies.
Oh, for
it's too dark.
Sake. Okay.
Sometimes you get to live. Okay, the baby. Maybe do escape, Danielle. You make it to China.
Yeah.
Guess what? The Chinese don't want you.
Well, they're communists also.
So you're not
it's a
safe.
freer society.
China has a habit of sending you back where you face torture or death, but before death, some torture.
Oh my God.
This is from Radio Free Asia in 2021. North Koreans who are forcibly repatriated are commonly subjected to torture, arbitrary detention, summary execution, forced abortion, and other forms of sexual violence. We are particularly concerned by recent reports that nearly 50 North Koreans were forcibly repatriated, the spokesperson said. So they don't know what happened to those 50 people.
Right.
Even if you make it into South Korea, Matt, secret North Korean agents could be hunting for you there your entire life.
Why did you point to Matt?
Because he's going to try to escape too.
Oh, he's got, they used to call him Wheels Belknap. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Because he runs quickly. So if there's anyone who has a chance of escaping North Korea, it's Wheels Belknap.
I hope he does. I'm rooting for both of you. Listen to this. If you're a North Korean diplomat and you get assigned abroad, they often require you to leave behind a son or a daughter. That way, if you try to defect, the price of your defection will be the life of your child. So it's bad. And then they think an estimated 150,000 to 200,000 people are just disappeared into these concentration camps throughout the country. Mm-hmm. So former prisoners report that the conditions are so bad that 20 to 25% of the population dies every year. The starvation is common. They're fed gruel made of cornmeal and cabbage. They often eat rats and insects just to stay alive.
You know what? See, I just wonder at what point could I get to starvation look, I don't even eat meat, but I could see.
You'd have to.
No, I could see, obviously, I've thought about this, okay, I'm in a situation. All right, chicken's back on the table.
Yeah.
Beef is back on the table.
Yeah.
I'll have some crispy bacon. I'm sure they're not serving you crispy bacon, but, I get it.
Yeah.
But at what point do I go, you know what? That's what I kept thinking reading this book, because he intentionally starved millions of people in the Soviet Union. Mm-hmm. And they ate each other. They fucking ate each other.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No, I love it.
Just to lighten the mood, guess what I've had in my head ever since you said China?
Go on.
Take it to China, the Chinese chicken. Had a fun chicken. Mine starts cooking.
That was a Jeopardy clue last night.
Yes, it was. Oh wait, I haven't watched last night's.
Well, it wasn't last night's. We were just watching Celebrity Jeopardy.
1 week. Yes. Yeah. Yes. And I kept going.
The Ray Romano one.
Yeah, and I kept going 1 week. And as Oliver pointed out, it's Bare Naked Ladies, right? They did the theme song to Big Bang, so she should have had Melissa Rauch should have had a little more of a clue about that.
I gotta be honest. I cannot tolerate Bare Naked Ladies in my head.
It's pretty bad, but that song, I'd leave it on. If it comes on, I leave it on. I like it.
There's a joy to it.
Matt, Bare Naked Ladies?
Yeah, I thought that was an undeniably catchy pop song.
It's just good.
It just was overplayed insanely. So that was, you couldn't like it after 6 months of it, but initially it was very exciting.
It was. It was. Okay. I mean, they got X-Files references. It's just fun.
Yeah, it's like they're Canadian, but they're rapping.
Yeah.
I'm going to share a couple escape stories.
Okay.
Because you need to know what to do.
Okay.
Here's a story.
Now, maybe you're going to get to this, but do foreigners end up accidentally in North Korea? Is that what you're going to get to? Okay.
I'm not going to really get to that because these stories are more interesting, but I'm going to touch on it at the end.
Okay.
Because that happens, and I'm going to tell you briefly about that.
Okay.
First story of escape is Shin Dong-hyuk. His story is famously told in the book Escape from Camp 14.
Okay.
I read this book 10 years ago. I recommend it. It's riveting. He's the only person known to escape from a North Korean prison camp. He was born in the camp.
Oh my God, just like we were saying.
He was born to two prisoners who were allowed to marry as a reward for good work. They had no say in deciding who they would marry. His father told Shin that the guards gave him his mother as a payment for his skill in operating a metal lathe in the camp's machine shop.
Hey, some women like that.
So he went to school in the camp. The secondary school was little more than slave quarters, from which he was sent out as a rock picker, weed puller, and dam laborer.
Okay.
So, like most of our elementary school experiences.
Right.
At one point, a young girl was beaten to death by the teacher for hoarding a few kernels of corn. He witnessed dozens of executions every year. Part of his right middle finger was cut off by his supervisor as punishment for accidentally breaking a sewing machine. He witnessed adult prisoners and children beaten every day, many prisoners dying of starvation, illness, torture, and work accidents.
Look, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Please.
If I've learned anything from Project Runway, it is very easy to break a sewing machine. Or at least the needle, because they're always complaining about, oh, my fucking needle came off. So that's really not fair.
It's not fair.
It seems like way out of line.
And we either need to add more leniency to these gulags
or improve sewing machines.
Or make Project Runway a little harsher.
Good point.
So he learned to survive by any means, including eating rats, frogs, insects, and reporting fellow inmates for rewards.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do.
Right.
He's in this camp with his entire family. At age 13, he finds out his mother, who doesn't show him any affection, and brother are planning an escape. Keep in mind, this is important, family as a concept is totally alien to him.
Okay.
He's a tortured prisoner, so he has no qualms about informing on his mother and brother. He might get a reward or better treatment out of this, plus they are putting him at risk because he could be tortured by their escape attempt. He informs someone above about their plan.
Oh, shit.
They execute his mother and brother in front of him. And he, at the time, he doesn't think this now. He was like, yeah, that's what they deserve.
Right.
So later, when he's an adult, he's working at this textile factory and he becomes friends with this 40-year-old political prisoner from Pyongyang who's named Park. He's this guy who's educated. He's traveled outside of North Korea. Pyongyang is the city in North Korea where people have a little bit more sophisticated of a life than people who live in the villages. And they don't have a normal life, but they live in a city.
Okay.
They can work in offices.
It's the capital, right?
Yeah, they have phones. They can't call anyone except other people. But it's a little
more affluent.
A little more affluent.
Okay.
They don't have to eat rats.
Right.
So it's way better.
They get to eat rats.
They are allowed to eat rats on a plate with a fork. And he's like, there's he says, there's better food out in the world than what you've had. And that's what motivates him, is the idea that he could have real food.
I relate to this.
He does, because he's only had gruel and rats and grasshoppers. Shin decides to try to escape with Park. So they form this plan. In 2005, the pair is assigned to work
I'm sorry, how old is Shin at this point?
20.
Okay.
So they're assigned to a work detail near the camp's electric fence on top of a 1,200-foot mountain ridge to collect firewood. No, so there's a long interval between the guards' patrols. So they have to walk this long patrol. And there's a period of time where the guards are going to be out of sight. And so the two wait until the guards are out of sight. They make their attempt to escape. So Park is going to go through first, but he gets fatally electrocuted climbing the fence. Shin manages to pass over the wire using Park's body as a shield to ground the current. He still suffers severe burns, permanent scars.
Holy shit.
When his legs slip on the lower wire as he crawls over Park's dead body.
Wait, can I just ask something?
Yes.
Is Park, when he dies, is he still holding on to the fence?
Yeah.
So he
like
literally
lowers it enough, I think. Yeah, go ahead.
So Shin literally steps on him to boost himself over the electrified fence.
I think so.
Wow.
So after he escapes, he breaks into a nearby farmer's barn. He finds an old military uniform that's North Korean. He wears it and masquerades as a North Korean soldier. He scrounges, he steals food. He reaches the northern border of China. I think he swims the Tumen River. He bribes border guards with food and cigarettes. I don't know how he got those.
I don't know how he knows how to swim.
I have another story.
Okay. I'm sorry. So what happened to him?
He is married.
He lives in China?
He lived in LA or Southern California for a while.
How did he get to Southern California?
He got to South Korea and then was brought to the United States.
Oh,
and
he got to South Korea.
He became sort of a advocate for, helping South Koreans assimilate or North Korean defectors assimilate.
Wow.
And then he's now back in South Korea helping North Koreans assimilate. Because when they get to South Korea, it's kind of like somebody who's been on the moon, who's never been anywhere because they have no way to assimilate. And it's really hard for defectors.
But you said he's the only person to escape a prison or a gulag, but other people defect who aren't in gulags. They defect from North Korea to South Korea.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. What a calling.
This is the story of the lovers and the despo. Choi Yoon-hee was a beautiful and widely famous South Korean movie star of the 50s and 60s. She married this very hot director. He was like the Roman Polanski of South Korea.
Wait a second.
But
in
handsome.
what way?
No, he didn't rape any 13-year-olds.
That could mean so many things.
Yeah, no, I just meant he was like very famous.
All right. Okay.
But he was really handsome. I should have used who was a hot director in the 60s but handsome? I don't know. So they're riding high. They're making these movies together. They adopt a couple of kids. Everything's going great. Then she finds out he's cheating on her with some ingenue he's directing.
Typical.
Right? Tale as old as time, Danielle.
Right. So back to mice.
He gets this young actress pregnant, and Eun-hee's like, maybe I can forget. Then he gets her pregnant a second time.
Ugh.
And Eun-hee's like, no. So they get divorced, and then Eun-hee does the one thing you're never supposed to do as an actress.
Ages?
Yeah. She gets to be 48.
Uh-oh.
So
dumb move.
I know.
Rookie
Why did she do that? So she's 48. She's divorced. She has no gigs. So she gets a call from this hotshot in Hong Kong who says, Eun-hee, you're a legend. I want to work with you. So she's like, what? Great. She goes to Hong Kong, and the hotshot pairs her with a shopper, Bernice, we'll call her. I don't remember her name.
Very
Asian.
Very Asian.
Which is the normal, I guess. This shopper thing happens. So it's not like any red flags are going off in her head. And Bernice shows up with her daughter. So Eun-lee thinks, okay, this isn't sus at all. She seems cool and nice. I like her shoes.
I'm sorry, what country are they in now?
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, okay.
And Bernice is like, hey, come over here. I want to show you. She's like, remember in Goodfellas when Robert De Niro is like, Karen, come down this alley. I want to show you these coats.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I gotta go. And he's like, no, just come down here real quick. And she's like, some other time. So it's kind of like that where she's like, come down here. Come here. I got to show you something. Hurry. And, I think Eun-lee's a little like, what? And then 4 big muscle men throw her in a boat and take off and drug her, inject her. So for 8 days, she's on a boat, no food. She's unconscious. She wakes up. They take her off the boat. She doesn't know where she is. She's like in this big coat. It's cold. She's like weak. She's trying to cover her face. She doesn't know what's going on. They stop her at this man who says, hello. She shakes his hand. She looks up. Kim Jong-il. And And he says, I'm so glad you agreed to come.
Oh, fuck.
She's in North Korea. He puts her in this fancy house, and basically she's kept as a pet.
Oh.
Not like a sexual pet, but just like, this is his favorite movie star. Oh. He loves all her films.
Jesus.
And he's like, hey, we're going to hang out and watch movies together. And the first one he shows her is this weird Swedish film in which this couple is marooned on this island and the man tries to leave, and so the woman shoots him dead. So he's kind of like, hey, we're friends, but don't try to leave.
Yeah, right.
No one in South Korea knows where she is. Her kids, she has kids.
Yeah.
Her sister, her mother, she's just gone. Her ex, the hot director, is like, where is she? Like,
it's not my weekend.
Yeah. I'm stuck with these kids. Right. I don't even like them, So he's like, I'm going to go look for her. So he goes to Hong Kong because it's the last known place. He is also kidnapped.
Holy fuck.
So just to point out, there is a little speculation that he possibly wasn't kidnapped, but this is unfounded.
Okay.
He's put in a prison camp for 5 years.
Oh my God.
So
in North Korea?
Yeah, North Korea prison. We know how those are.
Yeah.
He's not having a good time.
No.
So she's just like growing a garden, knitting, pretending that she likes hanging out with Kim Jong-un so he doesn't have her shot in the face.
It's like a Beauty and the Beast situation.
It totally is. I think that was the inspiration. So one night, at one of Kim Jong-un's parties that she always has to go to, he's like, hey, Eun-lee, I have a surprise.
No.
Look who's here.
It's your ex-husband.
It's Shin. Just like very gaunt. Oh. And they both have to just like smile and pretend like it's totally normal that they're both at this party and they weren't kidnapped from South Korea in prison.
Shit.
And in Shin's case, probably tortured.
Yeah.
There's a photo you can see of them like both standing on each side of Kim Jong-un and like smiling. It's so weird.
No way.
And they're like, hey, fun party. Did you try the dip?
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
How have you been? You look thin.
Oh my God, you lost some weight.
Yeah.
So Kim Jong-un is so happy. He's like, now that you're both here, you should both make some movies for me. The movies here suck. Which, of course they do. No one in his country, except for him, is allowed to even see movies.
Right.
Like, there's tapes of him complaining about how bad the movies are to the director. He's like, you're really good at making movies. And, like, no one here can make movies. They're really bad.
They don't know what anything is.
No, they only make propaganda films.
Right.
So they do this for years. He and Eun-lee have to make movies for Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-il, sorry. So they're making the best of it. They're like, Shin, who has had financial problems for years and had always struggled to get financing for his films, has all the money he's never had and the best equipment to make all the movies he wants, as long as
they're about Dear Leader.
As long as they make Dear Leader look good. And like, Choi's like, I got my husband to myself at least, but we should still kind of get out of here. And he's kind of like, yeah, we should, but let's not rush it. Like, remember, I was in a prison camp for 5 years, so I don't want to get caught. Well, over time, Kim Jong-un begins to let them go other places because of film festivals. Like, so they get to go to, mostly Russia because they're friends with Russia. And they always have these minders around them, like these 20 guys in suits. But then they get to go to Austria and then Berlin. And in Berlin, Eun-lee's like, we should go. We should try to escape. And he's like, no, not yet. And in Berlin, they actually see friends from South Korea. And they're like, what is going on? And they're like, we love Dear Leader. He's the best. We've never been happier.
Wink, wink.
We're never leaving. It's the best we've ever had. And so then because of that, Kim Jong-il totally trusts them.
Okay.
He's like, they're so loyal to us. They're my real friends. They're the best. So because of that,
this is sounding like drunk history.
It's so crazy you can't believe it's true. So that when they know he really has their trust, 8 years later, so in total, they go to Vienna for a film festival. And
8 years later?
They've been there 8 years.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
They are in Vienna and they race to the U.S. Embassy and they beg for political asylum and then they are free.
Oh, that's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
Has there not been a movie made
There is.
out of
I watched this. I learned all this from a really fascinating documentary I watched called The Lovers and the Despo. and you should watch it. I told you the whole story, so, but it's still really interesting to watch. It's really good.
I'm just saying they could make a film.
It should be a film
about it.
Yeah, it could be a great film.
Holy,
because it's so wild. You cannot believe it.
Is there a book?
There is a book, yeah.
Is it also called The Lovers in the
I don't know what the book is called, but we can find out. So this is the reality. Surviving in North Korea is very difficult.
Yeah,
I don't recommend you travel there.
Don't do it. I remember a story, and maybe I'm thinking about China, but maybe China, because someone took, like a college student, took a flyer.
I'm going to tell you about that right now. So... Otto, I didn't go deep into the story because it's so incredibly sad. I'll link to it in our newsletter.
Oh, okay.
So this gentleman, Otto Warmbier, if I'm saying his name correctly, from Ohio, 22 years old, went on a student trip. And these are all organized. You can't just go to North Korea.
Right.
On a student trip. And it was for like a week into North Korea. It's all organized. You're on a bus. You don't get to just go off on your own. And at the hotel, saw a propaganda poster in like as they were walking out in like the kitchen or something.
Yeah.
Because there's propaganda everywhere for Kim Jong-un. And, thought, this will be funny to take as like a souvenir.
Right.
Probably did not even understand.
Right.
And they'd all been drinking, which is nothing. Don't go there and don't drink. Just because
I'm just surprised that North Korea allows foreigners to come in. Do they think that they're going to help spread
they need money. They need money. They're so in the 90s, there was Russia had a huge famine.
Yeah.
Or Russia crumbled, right, in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then they stopped being able to give aid to North Korea, and they had a huge famine. And there's such mass starvation, and they need money. And so they started letting tourists come in because they need the money so badly.
Gotcha.
So they allow these tours that are very controlled. It's like you go to this spot, you go to this spot, you go to this spot. They're not letting you see much. They're very controlled about what they let you see. So he thought he would take this propaganda poster as a souvenir. But then I think he even realized, this is too big. I can't even fit it in my suitcase. Didn't take it, but still got arrested because it was caught like on camera, or he got turned in.
He took it down and then put it back up.
He took it down and left it, and when it left on the floor was arrested, slipped into a coma while he was in their detention.
Because he was so malnourished or something?
They don't know. There's no...
Or he was beaten or something. It seems
that there's a possibility... He was probably tortured. There's no clear evidence. There's a really interesting GQ article, but it's possible that somebody saw him coming back from a room covered in water and being drugged. So they couldn't find any signs of head trauma. But otherwise, healthy 22-year-old doesn't go into a coma. I think they held him for a long period of time before they released him back, to the States. And then he was brain dead and he died.
Yeah, I do remember.
And it's devastating, to his family.
Jesus Christ. How long was he being held?
I think it was 18 months.
Jesus. Okay.
So it's not worth it. I'm just going to say, don't go.
Don't go. You know what's really lovely this time of year? Anywhere else. Don't go to North Korea.
Go to any other place.
Yeah. Seriously.
This is not the place to go.
No.
All right. I'm going to end on this. This didn't fit into my stories on North Korea. However, there is an insane story called, you can watch the documentary called Assassins, or you can listen to a podcast about it. You can read about it. I don't care. But the story about two women hired to kill Kim Jong-un's half-brother, thinking they were going on a YouTube prank show.
Yeah. They gave him
They threw stuff in his face at an airport.
Yeah.
Is fascinating.
Yeah.
I listened to the podcast about it. I'll link to it in the show notes in the newsletter. How they were convinced, where they came from, their backstories, how it all played out.
Ooh, what's it called? Will you send that to me?
I will send it to you. I don't remember the name of the podcast. I know the documentary is called Assassins, but I don't think the podcast is called Assassins.
Okay.
But we will link all of that when I find out the name of it. It's really interesting.
Jesus. Well, my mind is full of fascinating information now. Thank you.
Nothing like North Korea for a good laugh.
I mean, and you know what? Today's voting day, so election day. So Let that be a lesson to you, motherfuckers.
Yeah, well, by the time you hear this, it's too late. So if you didn't vote, shame on you.
It doesn't matter because the votes aren't real anyway, so it doesn't matter.
The votes aren't real.
No, all the elections are fixed.
Welcome to Conspiracy Danielle.
Yeah. Okay, well, wow. We will be right back with our guest.
Welcome back to How to Survive with Danielle and Kristine. Danielle.
Kristine.
You know what?
What?
Something important you need to know is coming up on Friday.
What?
Taylor Swift tickets are going on sale.
Okay.
And I am...
Are you in line to be in line?
I'm in line to be in line. Is anyone else here in line to be in line?
Yeah.
Matt is.
My whole family is.
They're all Swifties over there. Wait, not Charlie.
No, he just gets dragged along into it.
So he has to go to the concert?
Yeah.
We're not sure at this moment, like, because we're just going to buy whatever you're allowed to buy and then figure out who wants to go after the
I
fact.
think that's what I'm going to do as well.
Yeah.
You know, Charlie and Benjamin could hang out together and just,
and not enjoy it.
Not enjoy it together.
That would be so cute.
They're the same age.
They are the same age.
Yeah.
So that could work out.
That would be really
They both like
cute.
soccer. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like this. I like a little bromance developing.
That could happen.
Between the boys.
Could get a bromance going. You know, if he's interested in developing a Netflix deal with Benjamin.
I've heard all about his Netflix, the Kung Fu pitch.
He could work on the Kung Fu
But I've heard
movie.
there's some stalling in development.
I don't know how motivated he is to get this sold.
You know what? You got to love it. You got to like put your fucking heart and soul into it, or else you're not going to make it in this business.
Or you will and you still won't.
Well, yes, that's always on the table, 100%. Okay. Well, the first half of the show, Kristine,
Yes.
we talked about what happens if you get stuck in the wrong country.
Yeah.
And now we're going to talk about what happens if you get stuck in the wrong city with our friend, special guest J. Keith Van Straaten.
This
Hi,
is
everybody.
exciting.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't. Okay,
No.
Please don't let me step over your excitement about me being here.
Let me just say, for those of you who don't know, that Jay Keith hosts a great show called Go Fact Yourself, which is a podcast, but it's also a game show.
Mm-hmm.
I have been on it with my father.
Nice.
Yes, Jimmy's been on it. It's just a blast. Do you want to give a quick recap of what it's about?
Sure. So Go Fact Yourself, we take two celebrity guests. They each give us a few different topics that they say they know a lot about before the show. We pick one of them. We give them a 5-question quiz about it. And then we bring on a surprise expert in that topic to discuss it with them. And it's loads of fun. Yes.
Yes.
So when you were on, we did you chose the Muppets.
And
so
my dad chose the Yankees.
That's right. And so we for your dad, we got Eddie Robinson, who at the time was
like 98 years old or something.
The oldest living former Major League Baseball player and World Series champion. He went on afterwards to start his own podcast.
Are you kidding?
No way.
Yep, he started his own podcast. I'm assuming he just thought, well, if these idiots could do it, how hard could it be? And then, unfortunately, he has since passed.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say he went on to die.
Again, however we can inspire people is what I'm happy for. Yeah, and then, well, now it got sad.
But it's really fun. And so
Jimmy was our very first
who was
guest
your
on the very
expert?
first show.
my expert was a man who's written a bunch, I don't remember his name, but he's written a bunch of Muppets. I think he wrote on some of the movies.
Yeah.
And so that was extremely exciting.
And by complete coincidence, he was the punk on the bus in Star Trek 4.
That's right.
That your father was in. So
Right. Double dumbass on you.
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't that what he says? Isn't that what Shatner says?
I don't remember.
Yeah, because he says dumbass and Shatner says double dumbass on you.
Got it.
Because he doesn't know modern, i.e. past
I understand.
lingo.
Right.
He doesn't know 80s lingo. He lives in the 23rd century.
Okay.
Is
I'm
that
going to
right?
take your word for
23rd?
it. I've never seen an episode of Star Trek.
But you've seen the movies.
I did see that movie about 8 or 9 times.
How weird.
Yeah, that's the only one of the movies. No, I saw that one, and then I went with my friend to see the one. There was a crossover one, I guess, with the Next Generation one. I saw that one too.
So you liked 4, obviously, because you saw it.
Nope, it was on. These are the days of cable when you just watch what was on. And,
all right.
Hey, they're walking around in robes and there's a whale. I'm in.
Gotcha.
I'll watch the rest of this.
Well, Keith and I have been friends for a very, very long time.
Right.
And Keith and Kristine used to live in the same apartment complex?
Yeah, we were. I almost said we were roommates.
Wow.
I really have a weird memory for past events.
Yeah.
Keith, what happened? What's with this story where you got lost?
All right. Now,
set the scene.
You could argue, did we get lost or did we find ourselves? I would never do that to you. Okay, so I love to travel.
Yes.
As you may know. I also love to save money.
Yes.
As you also may know. And so when I can find an opportunity to travel and to save money, I'm in. So it's about 10 years ago, and my good friend Christina mentioned that she was going to be in Berlin and Amsterdam, and that there was a free place for us to stay. So again, travel,
great,
save money, boom. So would I join her?
Us being who?
Oh, she and I. So
just you two.
My good friend Christina and myself. That she had friends in each place, and that there was a place for us to stay. And did I want to go?
Great.
And so I did the figuring with the points and the flights and figuring out where to go and how best to do it. And so I did what they call an open jaw ticket. So I
don't know this.
Means, well,
open jaw.
It's called open jaw. It's not a surgical procedure. You don't have to worry. But basically, it means that you fly into one place and you return from another place. So if you to look at it on a map, it looked like they could easily have called it like an open triangle or like chopsticks or something. But it's called an open jaw.
Right.
So we're going to fly into Berlin and then fly out of Amsterdam, and we would figure out in between how we get from one place to the other.
Okay.
So go to Berlin, have a wonderful time. There's sausage, there's beer, there's pretzel, there's art, having a good time. A little uncomfortable with the Jew thing, but I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair, they're very apologetic.
Yes, I know. Chris is married to a German man, so I know that it's sort of drilled into them.
Right.
To,
feel bad.
Feel bad.
At a very young age, yeah.
And as a Jew, it's drilled into us to feel bad.
Yeah, so. for no reason.
And they're in the country, I think you see like their plaques everywhere.
Exactly.
You can read about the person who lived at the apartment or house.
Oh, wow.
It's really part of their culture now very... they've done reparations in a way that we haven't here.
Oh, God, not even close.
Yes.
Yeah, no, they really kind of bear the scar and just recognize that this is part of our culture. Anyway, back to funny haha.
Yes.
So,
I just want to ask because Van Straaten is Dutch, right?
It is.
Okay.
Yes. So that was the thing. I was going to end up in my homeland, and actually was set in Amsterdam to meet a bunch of Van Straatens who I'd never met before.
That's great.
Yeah. And to learn how to correctly pronounce my name,
which is
I think it's Van Straaten.
Okay, Van Straaten.
So we're in Berlin and eventually trying to figure out, okay, gosh, how are we going to get our way to Amsterdam?
Yeah.
So I had looked in a couple travel books because I thought, Berlin, great big city. I'd never been to Germany before. I want to go to a small town. I want to see. I want to see villages. I want to see
cobblestones.
Dirndls.
What's a dirndl?
I think it's the thing that the waitresses wear at
I thought it was
the Red Lion.
I think I was thinking of a drundle.
Is a drundle
the thing that you where a sack is put on a stick?
I think that's a bindle.
Bindle.
Yes.
Got
and a dreidel is the thing that you spin at I almost said Halloween.
You put to summon the spirits.
Yes, exactly.
You put your dreidels in your drindle and you go to a burndle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it turns out, of course, that sorry, let me go back. So there's a few different ways that you can get from Berlin to Amsterdam, and I wanted to stop in some small towns. When I'd looked in these travel guides, literally every town that they had was south of where we were. So it's a straight line from Berlin to Amsterdam, but sort of on the collarbone of the country, sort of in the northern part of Germany. And literally, there were no towns that were listed in the travel books or anything in between there without swinging south to Munich or something like that. But and then also by the time you get there, so I thought, oh, maybe we'll just fly. But of course, we hadn't planned anything, so the flights now were really expensive.
Yeah.
It was too expensive to drive a car one way. Great, we'll take the train. I can take a train, lovely train across Germany. So we talked with a couple of Christina's friends and other people that we met there. Hey, where do you think we should stop between Berlin and Amsterdam? And a few people mentioned a town called Münster. And I looked it up and was like, oh, this is charming. It kind of looks like a nice university town, and there's different interesting architecture. And on the official page of Münster, it says there's a Picasso museum. This sounds fantastic.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so I look up the train tickets, and they're very reasonable. And so I can buy a ticket from Berlin to Münster and then Münster to Amsterdam. And we can go kind of at our leisure and stop different places along the way. This is great. So I'm on the website, and it says that I can buy our ticket at the train station in Berlin or to save upwards of 2 euros and 50. You can buy it in advance online.
Yeah. So €2.50 is like $5.
Back then, maybe it was. Yeah.
Okay.
So like maybe $3.25 or something. So
look, I feel your pain. I'm the same way.
I was not in pain. I was excited. Well, I was excited to save the money.
Right, but I'm assuming this leads to
this does lead to some
to badness.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So I buy the tickets online. The day comes. We get on the train. We're making our way across the lovely German countryside. We stop in a couple places, have a wonderful lunch, go to some thrift stores. Great times. And then there was one little mishap along the way where it turns out we stopped at a place where the train to Munster didn't come again until the next day. So we had to get on another train to get to another place to get back online. But everything was fine.
Okay.
But by the time we got to Munster, it was very dark and very late.
Okay.
And also we had figured, because we had been told, and we weren't sure exactly when we were going to arrive, you'll just figure out where to stay when you get there. It'll be fine. You know what I mean? It's a college town. There's plenty of places, plenty of hotels. And
We're traveling.
We're traveling. We're young. We're not that young, but we're doing it. So we get in to the train station and we get out. And I thought, well, that's weird. We're the only ones getting off at this stop. And that's weird. I thought that on the pictures on the website, it looked like the train station was right in the middle of town next to things. But all right, no big deal. We figure it out.
Just wheat fields.
There's a bus station and we get on a bus and the bus gets us into the main village. And I'm like, all right, sometimes things don't always look the way they look on the pictures. That's part of the adventure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we get into the main town, and the main town is completely dark except for one building, which is a bar. So we go into the bar, and it was like one of those moments in every movie where, like, we open the door, and then the record scratch, and everybody turns to look at us.
You ain't around here.
Exactly, yes, but the German version of that. Can you do that?
You all from around here.
There you go.
You're strangers in a strange land.
Yes, so we get in the bar and we have our bags and we put them to the side and order a beer, you know, when in Munster, and then we start to get to talking with some of the townsfolk. Yeah, and they pretty much are saying, "What are you doing here?" And not in a way of like, what are you doing here? But they're just very curious. And we said, "Oh well, we're on our way to Amsterdam," and we talked with our friends in Berlin, and they all said that you should stop in Munster, and they said, "Your friends said you should stop here." Here, this is where they told you to stop. Like they couldn't believe it, and again, not in a threatening way. Just like I thought, maybe they just had a very poor self-esteem for their town. Yeah. And so they said, yeah. And it's like, no. They're like, okay, And so we're like, well, where do you think we could stay? I'm sure there's plenty of different, hostels and places for students and travelers. And they said, no. But they thought they did think that there might be one place that might be open. So God bless them. The bartender made a call to his friend who he had to wake up like at this other pub, and they said that they did have a room that they could put us in. So then they had to call a taxi for us. And then the taxi brought us to this other pub, and the sleepy woman came down the stairs and brought us up to this room over the pub, and it was perfectly fine. And we thought, God, that's funny. I thought this was a college town. I thought things would be kind of rocking and all that. Wasn't happening. All right, well, we'll figure it out. Go to bed. The next morning, we get up, we go down to the pub where breakfast is included. We have a lovely display of meats and breads and different things. And I grab a pamphlet of what to do in Munster. And as I'm looking out the window, this is the first time we're seeing the town in the light. And I'm like, well, that's weird. This doesn't look like the pictures on the website at all, and neither does the picture on this pamphlet. And wow, there's no students out there biking, and there's no like tall buildings. And I'm looking at this pamphlet, and I was like, well, that's weird, because I feel like if my town had a Picasso museum, I would put that like at least in the first 3 or 4 pages of the pamphlet. There's a Panzer tank museum that's listed. That? That's the German World War II tank. That's fun. Pretty much like the Jew killer. 5,000. Sure. And it slowly dawns on me that we're in the wrong Munster.
Oh my God.
And I have a little bit of a moment of panic, and then it's one of those moments, you're talking about how to survive, where I realize like, this is going to be very funny to me one day. And I'm going to have a much better time enjoying that this is funny rather than panicking.
Right. Sure.
We're I should say at the outset, like, it's an incredible privilege to travel, and it's an incredible privilege to make mistakes when you travel that you can fix with a little bit of money and having a little bit of time and knowledge and all that. So I tell my friend my theory, and she says, what? How could we be? There's no such thing as the wrong Munster or whatever.
Right.
So I saw on the map that there was a visitor center. So we finish up our breakfast and we walk a few blocks to this visitor center. And we walk in, and it's as if they could have seen us coming. Because I start to explain to the person. I basically said, "Where are we?" And she kind of nods knowingly.
Right.
Brings us over to the counter, pulls out an atlas, and there is a town called Munster. Munster, and there's another town called Münster, Mu with an umlaut, Nster. And apparently, if you speak German or know German or had gone to the damn train station in person in Berlin, you would have known this. Like this is like the most obvious thing.
So
to
it's
anyone in
pronounced
German.
Differently.
I believe so, and my pronunciations are probably mixing them up or not exactly right. But
Chris?
basically,
the umlaut is completely different.
Right?
It's like an
Münster instead of Munster.
König.
But what was sort of comforting is that she had obviously, the woman at the travel agency, had explained this to so many tourists before that it looked like there was a superhighway between the two towns because she had rubbed the map so many times. So it looked like, well, why don't we just get on this monorail that apparently is between Munster and Minster?
Oh my God.
So yeah, the umlaut made a big difference. So we went to the counter there, and then we had to go to a different counter somewhere else in town and buy a train ticket, which just seemed like this impossible document that I now have a train ticket from Munster to Münster.
That's hilarious.
And the only difference is the umlaut. So, and we had to go to that original Munster because that's how we were going to have to get back to Amsterdam.
Right.
Interesting.
So did you get to enjoy the real Munster? Did you
for
have no
about
time?
10 minutes. For about 10 minutes because we had to get it. Yeah, because then we had to collect our stuff to get to the train to get back to Amsterdam.
And you're like, students, bicycles, it's lovely.
Exactly.
Bye.
Exactly.
The nice thing is, though, the mistake Münster didn't sound that awful. I mean, you stayed in a nice place.
I'm picturing it as the pub from An American Werewolf in London. Like they go in and it's like everyone's staring at them. Like,
it really was like that. And my friend Kristine is Asian American also, so like I don't think they got a lot of people who look like her. So
they were confused.
Yeah, so it was. I don't know if they knew what to make of us, and we weren't a couple also.
Right.
So we were like, yeah, we want a place. No, two beds.
Okay, so. Gotcha.
That's really
funny. Oh my
funny.
God! So the cheese is from neither because it has an E, right? Munster?
Well, I think you'll correct me if I'm wrong, Kristine. I believe when you put the U with an umlaut, it's an option to instead do EU or UE or something like that.
That I can't answer with great certainty.
Wait a second. This might make sense because, as you know, my name is Koenig, Koenig, and I was always told that it was named after Königsberg, the town in Prussia. So I'm reading, I won't go into this, I'm reading this book about Stalin, blah, blah, blah. And on one of the maps, I see Königsberg. But there's no E. But there is an umlaut. So I was like, so did we just get it wrong? Am I not named after that city? But now you're saying maybe in English the umlaut translates into an E?
I think that sounds familiar. I can't say with
okay,
great
but maybe that would at least put my heart to rest because I was very confused.
Then let's say yes.
Thank you.
I'd have to call a lifeline to...
Yeah, you have to call Sven and ask him.
He could answer all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's sort of the difference of saying... Like if you'd ordered a pina colada versus a pina colada, but the pina colada, had bleach in it. But it was that subtle of a difference. And of course, everybody else would know that you can't order a pina colada.
I am a jelly roll.
Yeah.
Right? Ich bin ein Berliner.
Yes.
I am a jelly roll.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so funny. And so were you able to laugh at it in the moment?
Yes.
Or did it take a while?
No, I've sometimes when when I'm meditating and thinking about like positive moments and whatnot, like I remember there was a moment where I definitely was on that walk from the pub to the travel agency where I was like, this is ridiculous. and that I felt good that I made that decision and again, it's a privilege to be able to make that decision.
Right.
But I felt very happy that I made that decision to
not to be pissed off and not to be annoyed, not to blame yourself and just laugh at it.
Exactly, because there have been plenty of times where I made mistakes in my life, but especially when traveling, also where I get mad that I should have known something, a way that I should have known it, or whatever else. But I'm great. I'm also just grateful that I had that crazy adventure and had the good friend to share it with.
And Christina had a good sense of humor.
Yeah, I think she did. She did as well. I mean, like I said, it'd been a lot different if like we were trying to make a flight or she had a show she had to get to or something like that. But yeah, you know, when you have chances, when it's okay to make a mistake and you make one, and it's, you know, how is that not hilarious?
Oh my God. Well, Kate, thank you so much for being here. This
my pleasure.
Excellent.
Such a fun story.
I'm so glad to finally get you in, and I'm glad to promote Go Fact Yourself, because it's super fun. You should listen to it.
And we're back doing live audience shows.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, so people in the LA area want to come check them out.
Oh, okay.
They're a lot of fun.
And you can't say who's going to be on the next show because
I can say the guest, but I can't say who the
who's your guest?
Don't know.
Oh, okay. You can say, but you can't say.
I actually don't know our next. Unfortunately, we had to postpone our last live shows because somebody got a little bit of the sick. But but we'll be back coming soon, so people can go to gofactyourpod.com.
That's the fun thing is you have celebrities playing, and then you also have kind of like surprise guests as their experts.
Exactly.
They don't know who's going to be.
Some of them are celebrities too.
And then,
so sometimes the biggest names are. That we can't say.
It's super fun.
Thanks, man.
Anyway, we will be right back with what did we learn today?
Danielle.
Kristine.
Are you ready to learn what we learned today?
100%.
Jeanette Michelle Faye McCurdy's played Sam Puckett in the Nickelodeon sitcom iCarly.
Right.
From 2007 to 2012.
Right.
The members of Living Color ain't no glamour boys, but they are in fact fierce.
It's like a riddle within a puzzle within a conundrum.
You just try to stop thinking about it.
I can't.
BTS consists of 7 members: RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook.
J-Hope is my favorite.
You know, I didn't know there were that many BTS killers.
That's what I'm saying. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
They have to record songs and then on the weekends
do the murders.
Yes.
You know what? They're ambitious boys.
They are.
Hot 1960s directors that aren't Roman Polanski.
Oh, yeah?
Francois Truffaut.
Yep.
David Lean.
Yep.
Akira Kurosawa. Billy Wilder. Blake Edwards. Stanley Kubrick. I could have said any of those names. All right. A book about Choi Yun-hee. A Kim Jong-il production, the extraordinary true story of a kidnapped filmmaker, his star actress, and a young dictator's rise to power by Paul Fisher.
I cannot wait.
It's going to be
read
fun.
That one.
Dirndl.
Yeah.
German alpine dress that consists of a close-fitting bodice featuring a low neckline, a blouse worn under the bodice, a wide, high-waisted skirt, and an apron.
Okay, so the typical what you think of a German Frau or whatever, Fräulein.
Drundle is a shitload, more than needed.
What?
That old man had a drundle of tools.
Okay.
Bindle.
Yes.
That's hobo luggage. Well, to be fair, unhoused
people's luggage. Does it really say hobo?
Again, I apologize. I take responsibility for it.
I like it.
And if we learned anything from Jay Keith.
Yeah.
Umlauts matter.
Umlauts matter.
Yeah.
Yes. Koenig, they do.
I hope everyone enjoyed today's episode.
I sure did.
If you like us and you want to keep supporting the important work we're doing here at the podcast, How to Survive with Danielle and Kristine, you can like us, rate us, review us, sign up for our newsletter. Yeah. We have merchandise. You know, there's many different ways to support our show.
And we hope you pick one of them, at least.
At least. And as always, remain calm.